Today, I'm absolutely honored, and it's a total pleasure to meet this gentleman. I'm going to introduce to you Spencer Lodge. Now, story goes with Spencer Lodge that people see Spencer as a competitor to me because he's a sales and marketing expert. And over the last 6 months, I met over 10, 11 people who said, you got to meet Spencer Lodge. So I contacted him not knowing what his response was going to be. And he's a gentleman, he's an optimist, he's thinks about abundance, and his response was amazing. And he's here today to have a fireside chat with me. So welcome, Spencer.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful that you invited me.
Thank you
Why
so
would
much.
I say no to you?
Because you didn't know me, right? And this guy's this random bald guy that looks like a bouncer messages you, right?
It's like a bouncer.
So thank you so much for coming.
Great.
We were having a chat earlier, and
Yeah.
we were saying how much we respect salespeople. I know you're a sales and marketing expert. Can you just tell us a little bit about how you got into sales? I know you're an entrepreneur. You've had several businesses. You have several businesses now, successful businesses. But were you always an entrepreneur? Was sales something that you felt there was a strength within you when you were younger? How did you get into sales?
Okay, so I don't class myself as an entrepreneur because I don't really know what that means. It's a kind of a sexy term nowadays for small business owner that becomes business owner, or sole trader to become business owner. So I am my core a salesperson. I'm not sure if I was to begin with, but I left school. I didn't have any qualifications. I was a ski instructor, and summer came and there was no snow, and Mum kicked me out of bed, and she's like, "Got to get a proper job."
You're from UK, right?
Yeah, in the
so
UK,
where the
yeah.
hell did you get snow in the UK?
No, I was a
Scotland?
ski instructor in the ski resorts in Austria.
Oh, I see. Not in
So,
England.
no,
right?
no.
So how did you become we're going to go west.
I've been skiing since I was a kid,
Right.
and I took my on a dry ski slope. I took all my ski
Okay.
teaching exams,
Okay.
and then I did 2 seasons in Kitzbühel in Austria.
Amazing.
And it was the best time of my life when I think about it. But the summers there's no snow, and so you got to get a job. And I was working. You know, at the airports when they package the food that goes on the planes.
Yes.
So we didn't live far from an airport.
Silver trolley things.
Chicken or beef,
Yeah.
So Sodexo or something. Anyway,
Okay.
I was doing that for a month.
Yes.
And it was horrific.
How old were you? Straight after school or
18,
college?
19, yeah.
Okay.
And then my mum worked in a recruitment consultancy, and she said, right, I'm going to get you some job interviews, and she did. And one of them was a trainee car salesman at BMW. Another one was a trainee estate agent, and the other one was a trainee office equipment salesperson. Well, the BMW job came with a 316 BMW.
Okay.
That sold. It was
Amazing.
like I didn't have a car, and then to go from that to a
You were
BMW.
still a teenager.
So
Wow.
I was there for a month and got fired for having a bad attitude. And then the next best job was the office equipment job, which had a company car as well, in London. And I went to do that, and it was
What
epic.
was the bad attitude?
Oh, I don't know.
Didn't turn up on time?
No,
or
I was there.
You
on
were
time,
disciplined.
Yeah. I was probably cheeky and cocky, and
Okay.
probably stepped out of line a few times, but just youthful exuberance, immature.
Do you remember all the jobs you got fired from? Because I don't.
I got fired from that one.
I've been fired so many times. It's just
I've
left companies that I can't remember.
I've not had many jobs.
all right. Okay.
So when I was a kid, I used to collect glasses in a pub and work on a market
Yes.
stall and mow lawns and stuff like that. But
Full time.
full time, I did the ski instructing. Then I did the BMW job. Then I went into the office equipment industry, and that's where I was really schooled in sales. I was taught by really good people, but I was taught every day. Training was every day, 5 days a week.
Wow.
And I had to, for 18 months, knock on doors and make cold calls, literally every day.
Yes.
But what I learned to deal with that other people don't deal with, I learned to deal with rejection. Because my boss said to me, he said, look, you got 99 people I want you to call right now. He goes, and I want you to ask them to give you a no.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And he's like, you're going to get no's, so look for the no's. And I was like, yes, okay, boss, but why? He said, because you've got to get 99 no's before you get a yes. Well, I was a kid. I didn't know any different. I wasn't, quick with my thinking at that time. I was doing as I was told. So every phone call I got that someone said, not interested, don't like you, go away, stop calling me, I was like, oh, okay, thanks, bye. I need 99 anyway, so I've got to look for all these no's.
Wow.
So what then happened
Wise
is
teacher.
I wasn't fearful of the no. Whereas if you actually watch lots of salespeople, they become terrified of the telephone because of the rejection they get on it.
Correct.
It hasn't got teeth on it, has it? It's not going to bite them.
Correct.
But for me, it didn't work like that. I was like, oh God, I've got to find the no's, and then somebody said yes. So that was 99 no's, 1 yes. And as I got a bit better, it was 49 no's and 1 yes. So two
polish
yeses
up
out of
your
100,
skills.
and then 3 yeses out of 100, and so on. And so, and again, knocking on doors every morning, you know, I learned to understand that people were going to reject me. And so guess what? You need to get rejection.
Absolutely.
And it just, for those 18 months, conditioned me really well in a really competitive industry. Yeah, and but also when I went into the office the first time at that company, I saw there were people earning like money I couldn't even imagine. You know, I couldn't even dream of. Like, there was guys earning £20,000 a month, and this is 1988, 89, wow. And I'm like, whoa, holy mother!
What would I do with all that money?
A month? It was like a month. But then it was quite literally something that I became accustomed to. Worked in that industry for a few years, but I wasn't very good with money. And so everything I earned, I spent. And so I'd heard about financial services, and I heard that there was a possibility to earn more money in financial services. And so I found a company, went for a job interview, went up to Ipswich in Suffolk, interviewed by this lady. I'll never forget her, Bryony. And she said, "You're 23, you're too young. We need you to be at least 25. And so I went back and had dinner with my parents that night around the kitchen table, and my mum's like, "So you're going to take that?" I was like, "No." "What are you going to do about it, son?" I was like, "I'm going to go back and see if I can speak to the CEO." And the next day I went back and I just sat in his office in the lobby for 4 hours, and eventually he came and he's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Your recruiter won't give me a job, and I think I deserve one."
Wow.
And then came the bit of luck, because I think luck sometimes plays a part. My grandfather had just had a stroke. His father had just had a heart attack, and they were in the same hospital at the same time. And so we then went to the hospital to see my granddad and see his dad at the same time.
They had something in common.
And then he literally said, "You've got to be in Hong Kong in 7 days' time if you want this job." And this was before the internet, so getting an airline ticket meant you went to the travel agent. Everything was
in Hong Kong. You think, what the hell?
The other side of the world, yeah. So that opportunity was so exciting, though.
So you moved to Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, sat on the end of my bed on the first night, second night, cried my eyes out. Phoned my mum. I said, "I want to come home. What am I doing here? I'm on the other side of the world. This is nuts." And she said, "Spencer, this company gave you a job.
Wow.
You have to give them your very best for 3 months. And if after 3 months you're not happy, you can come home. But if I hear you quitting, no. You give 3 months of your best. Then we'll talk about it." And I respect her for saying that, because
Is your mum still with us?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well done.
So,
amazing mum.
Yeah, she was good. And then because I was working on commission only, I had to survive. I didn't have much money.
So they sent to Hong Kong, commission only.
Commission only, yeah. So,
and financial services takes time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Things don't happen overnight.
No, they don't. So the end of the month, and before I went, I got myself a Visa and a MasterCard, and I had £1,500 on each
to live on.
And I got to the end of the month, and this is when we had fax machines and stuff, yeah. And my mum sent me a fax of the statement. She goes, "Oh, I've got these 2 statements through for your credit card."
You're almost to your limit.
I was at my limit, yeah. And she said, "Spence, you're not going to be able to pay that from here. Shall I pay it for you, and you pay me when you come home?"
But you made it.
She was doing it innocently.
Yes.
She paid it, and then all of a sudden I had 2 £1,500 credit cards again. And that literally gave me another month, okay, of being able to breathe and survive, and then I got going. And so I remember I earned, a second month I think I earned something like £2,000. The third month was 3,000. The fourth month was 4,000. And then my mum sent me a fax message. She said, "Spencer, your company's made a mistake. They've put £28,000 in your bank account by mistake. Why don't you please give them a call and let them know so it can be returned?" I was like, "I'm not telling them. I'm not telling anyone."
But you earned it?
Well,
it was a mistake.
As far as we all knew, it was a mistake. So she's like, "Spencer, phone them up and tell them they sent it by mistake." And so I called the office. I said, "Look, I think there's been a payment made by mistake." And they went, "No, that's your bonus, your quarterly bonus."
Wow, we're going to hit the targets.
I know, it was like £28,000. It was like I'd won the lottery.
Sure.
It lasted about a month, but it was just huge. I bought a first class ticket straight back to London to go and see all my friends. I'm like, I'm living the dream. And yeah, because I went through this whole kind of like early days experience. But what I learned about financial services, it was a lot easier than office equipment. And my first day on the phones in the office in Hong Kong, I made 14 appointments.
Okay.
Well, nobody else in the company had ever made 14 appointments. Some
Because
never in a week.
You had a good
Because
upbringing.
I knew
you had
rejection.
Yes.
I knew how to deal with people on the telephone. So when you call for financial services, you call up, I want to help you with your finances. And people back then, they didn't have the internet or Bloomberg or CNBC.
They couldn't do their own research. Yes.
Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal. So people were more accepting of having a meeting. And so, I was just on the phone.
And you're a 23-year-old kid going to help more wealthier, probably clientele with their finances.
So my boss said to me, I know what you're going to say. My boss said to me, no one's going to trust a spotty 23-year-old kid, all right, with their life savings. And so he gave me a box with 9 books in. He said, if I find you in a bar or a nightclub, you're fired. So get those books read and come and summarise them. So I went, read the books.
So that was your product homework.
No, it's horrific. It was a language I didn't speak. Imagine mutual funds and options and swaps and warrants and financial markets. It's like, what is this world?
Sure.
And I went back and with the books, gave him the summary, and he gave me another box of 9 books.
Amazing.
Ian Moulding, I'll never
so
forgive him.
in a funny way, you've had really good coaches.
Yeah.
Like you said, nothing happens just by luck, right?
I've
Labor
had
under
tough love.
calculated knowledge, right? So you're working your ass off, and you get to create your own luck. And also, you were selling when you really weren't an expert on the product. That's a lot of salespeople say need to know everything before they go out there selling, and that's not right, is it? You don't have to know the ins and outs of your products to go out selling.
Do you know what? There are 2 types of salespeople. Those people, I can't do anything unless I know everything. Yes. And the people that don't, it was like the steak and the sizzle, isn't it? Do you really need to know what cow it came from, what the cow's name was, and what it was eating? Okay, do you need to know what it tastes like?
This is what I find. I find weak salespeople, they won't even go out there unless they have a business card. I can't go out there unless you print me a business card. Then I can't go out there unless I know the ins and outs of these services. I said, no. Sales is about relationship building, right? Building trust. So how long were you in Hong Kong?
Not long. Few months, went to live in Thailand. So I was in Bangkok then for a year.
Same company,
then to Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. And then I left there, and then I decided to set my own business up. And my father was working in Nigeria in the oil industry, and he had lots of people earning lots of money, and he said, come over here. So I set my business up with grand plans. And I'd been in Nigeria as a boy. Yeah. And I got there, and the opportunity was huge, so that was great. Nobody wanted to live in Nigeria, so it was almost impossible to recruit people unless they were kind of like...
They were the rejects.
Or the people that were dying, or the alcoholics, all those types of people, and I didn't want those. So I stayed in Nigeria for 2 years.
You still stuck it out for 2 years. Amazing.
Yeah, my dad was there though, so it was a bit easier. And then after that 2 years, I then went to join another company because I couldn't make it on my own. I surrendered to that, joined another company, and that was the beginning of me helping build a business. And I went to Sao Paulo, Brazil.
So you've literally traveled the world.
I've lived in 10 countries.
And how long were you in? Which one's your favorite?
Brazil.
And why?
Brazil.
Why? Keep it clean.
No, I went there with my wife.
Keep it clean.
The Brazilians have a very sarcastic sense of humour.
Where did you meet your wife before you go to Brazil?
In England. No, actually I met my wife in Bangkok. No, it's a long story. My first wife went to the school next to my school in England.
But?
I was in Bangkok at a friend's house for dinner, and she was there.
You recognise each other?
But she was also there with her boyfriend, who used to be my classmate. And we hung out together for a few days. They weren't actually together anymore, but they were catching up. She was there for a job interview with an advertising agency, and he was backpacking. And so we just hung out. It was like good old memories. And she said, look, I'm going to be moving to Bangkok. I said, all right, I'm going to be leaving soon. And so she had the choice of deciding whether she went to Bangkok and stayed there or not. And
so she came with you?
So she came with me to Nigeria.
Wow. You got married when you were in Nigeria?
We got married before Nigeria because she couldn't get a visa unless she was married to me.
I won't say it was love or convenience, but a bit of both, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, I have rules about marriage. People should never get married until they're at least 30, men anyway.
How old were you?
I don't think men are mature enough. I was 26.
Okay.
I didn't know anything.
I was a dad at 26.
Were you?
Yeah.
I was an idiot at 26.
Yeah, but my wife was 4 years older, so I used her to make me more mature.
Up,
I was a kid.
Yeah. But anyway, I lived in Brazil, and again, I went to countries where people said there wasn't business opportunities.
So I know until then you were spending the money you were earning, But when you went to Brazil, you had a wife, right? So you had other responsibilities. Did that put extra pressure on you?
No, because I was very fortunate with money because I know how to make money, and so as a salesman.
Yes.
And so selling financial services, I knew how to do that. I was noted as being one of the best in the world at doing it in the international financial arena. And I don't like saying that as a brag, but
the results were there.
I was good at it, and it wasn't a challenge for me. It wasn't difficult for me. Again, I'd been schooled well.
Yes.
I've been schooled in sales well. I've been schooled with tough love in financial markets. My boss taught me when I was 23 that no one's going to trust you unless you know your shit. And so I had to know my subject. And so when you know your subjects, plus you know how to sell, plus you've got a lot of confidence and more energy than anyone you know, and you want to make it. You know, I was bullied chronically at school, and I so badly wanted to prove the bullies wrong. And I reckon up until even to the age of maybe 40 years old, I still wanted to prove the bullies wrong.
I still have that within me.
I want to show them.
Yeah.
I met one of them once.
I met one of them who was still 2 feet taller than me. And from time to time, I kind of go on Facebook, I'm like, you fat bastard. The time wasn't good to you. I might just drop you a line and see.
If Mark Fowler, Justin Zimmerman, and
Rolf Easter,
Carl
James
Phillips
Strang
are listening to this,
The last day I was at
Thank you.
school, I took it because I was the first. I opened the door for all coloured people to my school. I was the first foreigner, first non-white person. My sports teacher used to call me Black Cherry. My sports teacher.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was tough. So last day.
My sports teacher used to fancy my mum. That's why I was always in the rugby team.
Oh no! I had that as well. Waiting for my mum to pick me up, and they're all going, "Oh, she's not bad." I'm like, "That's my mum. Stop it." So actually, my mum's still hot.
So is mine.
So, yeah, there you are. So just in case they're watching, she's the first one to press like on my posts.
My mum was the first one to come on my Facebook Live. She said, "Where's your tie? Why are you live?"
Yeah, amazing. So so you always had this thing about money, right? That you could earn it. Money came easy to you. What is money to you? What is money? What is money to you?
It didn't come easy.
You worked for it, but it came to you, right? You attracted it.
What does it mean for me?
Yeah, what is money to you? What is money?
Money's a burden. Having money has been for me one of the most dangerous things in my life, because unless you're smart with it and you do sensible things with it, it can take you down dodgy paths. And so I love being the underdog. And I think when I'm the underdog, I'm in a better place
than being comfortable, too comfortable.
Yeah, and money's not good for me. So if you said to me, Spencer, $1 million and you come second place, $50,000 you come first place, I'll take the first place. Yeah. You can keep the money. The significance for me is winning.
Yes.
And that's just me, and I'm not suggesting.
But you know subconsciously that the money will come, right? If you do the right things and become first.
Yeah. But I have an assistant called Sarah. She's been 15 years working with me. I've never used internet banking ever once in my life. I have a credit card
apps,
and a debit card, and I don't have anything. She manages all of that. She could have emptied my bank accounts twice over for all I know.
Yes.
As long as I've got enough money, to put food on the table and do whatever I need to do, I'm not motivated. I went through a period of, needing all the watches and the cars and everything else, but it has no significance. And so as long as I've got enough to do what I want to do, then I'm fine. And I don't know what I want to do tomorrow, so there's no point worrying about that.
So you don't have a plan? Because one of my questions is, where do you see yourself in 3 years or 5 years? Yeah. Are you taking a day at a time?
I don't like those types of goals. I like to look at what's going to happen this year and what my objective is around what matters to me emotionally. But yeah, loads of people have these 3 and 5 year goals for their business. Danielle, my business partner, has helped build out the group of companies that we've got. They're worth a lot of money, and when they're sold, I'm going to have a huge amount of money, which will probably be very dangerous for me.
Still.
Okay. And so I just my wife could spend it easily, but yeah, I'm not motivated by money, not at all motivated by I'm motivated by winning, I'm motivated by significance, I'm motivated by recognition, and that's what matters to me.
That's interesting. We're going to go back to Brazil, but you know James Khan, who's the Dragon's Den?
Yeah, recruitment guy.
He's my next door neighbour in Thailand.
Cool.
So I was having a chat with him, and he sold at age 40. He sold his company for £100 million, and just before selling it, he took some advice from somebody else who sold the company for hundreds of millions of pounds. And the guy said, take $1 million out, don't touch the 99 million for 1 year. And he said it was the best advice he ever had, because he just went and blew the $1 million. Yes, and then he couldn't wait to get a 99 million, but he had time to plan. And he added to the 99 million. But the best thing he did was put it aside for a year. So maybe that's an advice that you can do
we'll
that.
See.
I have.
Don't give me that.
But yeah,
I don't need much money though. I mean, a lot of people think that I'm Mr. Successful financially, and that kind of image they have of me is fine for them to have, but not a lot of people know how I live my life. I don't live a flamboyant lifestyle. I did years ago. Yes. I live quite humbly, I don't go clothes shopping and car shopping and stuff like that. I get up on a Friday morning and I go hiking, cost me nothing. Okay, I'll go wakeboarding, might cost me a bit, but not much. I get up every morning. Okay, I have to pay for a personal trainer. So, but I need that for my discipline to be successful at work.
You are disciplined, right? You're disciplined.
Yeah. I don't need it. If a shirt's a shirt, a handbag's a handbag. These things they have no significance to me. Again, other people I know, these things matter and they want money for security. But I think as we get a little bit older, we're less frivolous anyway, because you kind of go through a cycle of doing those stupid things.
You have 2 daughters.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
They're self-supportive. You don't have to support them anymore because
both of them I support.
You still do, right?
Yeah,
so
because they've got university fees to pay and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, absolutely, and that's my responsibility.
It's amazing.
I never went to uni. I wanted to send them to uni, and I think that I sent them to a really expensive private school as well, and I kind of regret that now.
Why?
Because I sent them there because of my ego.
Not that was the best thing for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's the best thing in terms of education.
Have you asked them? Are they happy?
Are they happy now? Yeah, but one of them was bullied, which I kind of like, because I'm like, that'll help you. And the other one wasn't. But I just, for the money that was spent, who was I trying to
give a better life to, or prove something?
Yes, and it was all about, it was like me telling you they went to a fancy school rather than them getting a good education.
Yes.
And I think a little bit like that with university as well. That I want them to experience it, and my eldest is already at a great university, but I think there's a little bit of me. Right? I said it's £65,000 a year, yeah. So there's 4 years of uni, 65,000, and let's imagine I put a deposit down on an apartment each year for 3 years.
Yeah, you have 8 apartments. Thank you so much.
They've got 3 apartments, right? Yeah. And what would you rather have? A kid that's almost a millionaire by the time they're 25 in equity and real estate, or a great education? Because all that way through that period of time, they'd have been
for the first every time. But the thing is, your kids probably have a lot of common sense because they watch their dad and they listen to your dad. Most kids don't have that. Let me explain what happened to my son. My son works with me. You met him.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah.
And I sat down with him, and being Iranian, you have to either be an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer, or something like that. And I had a lot of pressure from my family saying that he has to go to university. I'm dyslexic, so it was just an excuse not to go to university. And people didn't understand dyslexia then. They just thought I was stupid. And I sat down with him and I said, do you want to go? He said, I can go to university anytime I want, but I don't want to go working in McDonald's to go to university. I want to go to university in my Ferrari. I thought, that's a good one. Then I went to asking people who were saying he should go to university. And do you know what the common thing was? Always have education just in case. Just in case. And I'm there for 18 years. I'm telling him, there is no, burn your boats, laser beam focus, there is no just in case. And that's probably the most motivated thing they could say to me, to tell him, don't go to education. Because there is no just in case once you decide, right?
Something to fall back on.
Yeah, what's that about? Right? Exactly. So, and he's prospering, he's doing well. he picks up Spanish and learns Spanish in 3 months, picks up Mandarin book and learns Mandarin in a year. Smart kid. Common sense, but learn from mum and
Better
dad.
looking than his dad as well.
No. When I was 26, I was far better looking and hairier. So, going back to Brazil, I don't want to. So, how long were you in Brazil?
4 years.
Amazing place. Do you miss it?
Yeah. I was in Sao Paulo.
Crime?
I never saw anything. Remember, I'd just come out of Nigeria, so after Nigeria, Brazil was a holiday camp. Never saw any crime, heard about it. The economic hub of South America is Sao Paulo, so I was in this huge city, but Brazilians have got a really sarcastic sense of humour. And so as I started to watch TV, I realised they laugh at the same thing that the Brits laugh at. And that's when I realised that we were going to get on.
Yes.
Now, they could be terrible with their timekeeping sometimes, and I remember I was giving financial advice to expats, and I met a Brazilian guy, and he's like, why are you doing it to expats and not Brazilians? I was like, well, because that's what I do. And he's like, is there any other reason? Then that's what you do.
You didn't speak Portuguese?
Not at the time, no.
You
not,
know
not
now?
At the beginning.
You speak now?
Yeah, well, I learnt to speak the
Amazing.
language. I've probably lost a load of it since, but anyway, yeah. And what happened is he introduced me to a couple of Brazilians, and they introduced me to a couple of Brazilians, and it went from people investing $100,000 a time to people start investing $1 million a time. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And your skill set was the same. You were doing the same thing, just a customer base.
Yeah, and I was a bit of a novelty over there in the 90s because I'd have my stripy suit on and my double cuffs, and I looked like Steed from the Avengers.
Yes, wow.
This kind of like British, guy. And there's something about being British that in the Americas they think of us as being intelligent, straight and honest. Yes. And so that's the kind of
until we became the bad guys in Hollywood. Every bad movie is an English guy, and the bad guy's the English guy, right?
You've had to say it to Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
So Brazil was a great country.
So why did you leave?
I did 4 years in Brazil. I travelled a lot, so I was responsible for the everywhere Mexico South, and I'd fly to Mexico City for 11 and a half hours from Sao Paulo for a half-day meeting, and then fly back again. So it's a lot of travel. And
did you start managing staff then?
Yeah. I had my first management job at 26 in Brazil, and so I had an office in Buenos Aires, an office in Venezuela, in Caracas, one in Lima in Peru, one in Santiago in Chile, one in Panama City, and one in Mexico City. So I travelled a lot. Wow. I loved it. But we'd been there a few years. We decided to go back closer to Europe, and then moved then to Egypt, set an office up in Cairo, and then, which I didn't like Cairo at all. I struggled there. Then I moved to Milan, which I liked even less. I didn't enjoy that.
Is this because opportunities came along, or you planned?
No, this was a company that I was building.
Okay.
So I was building a company.
Oh, this is still your own business?
No, it wasn't. I was one of the shareholders and directors, but it wasn't my own business. And so we needed to open up offices. And so that's what I was doing. And then I went to Holland, and the company never had success in Holland. And it was like, there's no big money in Europe. The money's in these, far-flung, unusual places. And there has never been a better place for me in my career in terms of revenue generation as a financial advisor than Holland. I was in Amsterdam, and it was incredible.
Wow.
Because
I go to Amsterdam regularly for maybe the wrong reasons, but
I mean, I never.
I'm sure you had a great time.
Yeah, it was great for business, and what my wife said to me at the time is, can I stay in the UK for a while, get to see my family again? We've been overseas a few years. You set up in Holland and
45-minute flight.
Yeah, 45-minute. Okay, I was out of Schiphol into Stansted or London City, and that worked a treat for a while. But then what started to happen is we started just to grow apart.
Drifting.
And as we grew apart, then the relationship started to die, and when it started to die, then it became.
So your children are from your first marriage?
Children are from my first marriage.
Wonderful. And then how come you ended up here in Dubai?
So we bought a company here, and there was myself and two other guys that owned the company, and one of them was in Hong Kong, the other one was in Europe, and then there was me that was kind of moaning that I didn't like living in Amsterdam.
Yes.
And by buying that company, it meant that so my life was every weekend in the UK with two very small children. And one would be strapped to my chest, one would be in a backpack on my back, and my little girls would be with me. And I was a dad at the weekend, and I was a 14-hour worker for my business during the week. So I had no life. I wasn't meeting anyone to move on. Nothing like that was happening.
Do you feel exhausted?
No, lonely. Okay, I felt lonely at the weekend. It's like when you've got two small kids,
you're giving, and
so
not
by
receiving.
coming to Dubai, it meant that I could have one weekend here and one weekend there. So I'd alternate weekends.
Yes.
Which meant I could start having a life again. So that was
How long ago was this?
2005, January
Oh,
2005.
it's quite
15
recently.
years
Fantastic.
ago. Yeah.
So you've seen the Dubai change and develop and grow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, really.
So you opened up your own business here. You were coming here 1 week.
So I didn't open up my own business, so I helped grow the company. So the company was called Devere.
Oh, wow, you were involved in Devere. I know.
Yeah, I was there from the beginning. And so we went from there. We started building it. We bought a company here. There were 12 people when I arrived. We got rid of most of them, and then we started to build from there. And it was hugely successful here.
Yes.
And in Abu Dhabi and across the Middle East.
Yes.
And on that went for a number of years. And I earned outrageous amounts of money and became an arrogant, obnoxious shit, to be honest with you.
What made you realise? What happened for you to go, I don't like the person I am today?
I got a little bit bored at one stage, but I was earning a lot of money. I didn't realise until...
You were single then?
No, I was with somebody else then. I got fired.
Okay.
And when I got fired, my world came crumbling down around me. And
because you were arrogant?
at the time, I was a victim, you know, but it took me a couple of years. It took me a couple of years to work out that actually I was the problem. And I lost my job, and it was my life. 16 years I'd been there building that company. Yes. Sacrificed so much for it. It was my DNA. It was who I was. You know, I felt very connected to it. And so then after that happened, my life became very empty and very dark.
It was very self-reflecting. I saw some of your videos, and you get quite emotional talking about those times.
Yeah, they were tough times.
And how long did that period last?
A year? No, I probably am still struggling today.
Why? Because in the eyes of many and me, you're an amazing success, and you're motivated, you're positive, you're a force for good, and everybody thinks that about you.
I think it's like it's the measurement that you can see that allows you to be measured. So if you're being measured by other people but you can't see that measurement yardstick gauge yourself, it has no context. In that part of my career before, it was measured. Everything was measured, significance, all these things within the business. And that's why I don't like to call myself an entrepreneur. I find it a really lonely place, and I think the world has been pretty lonely and dark for me since 2012. And I'm not entirely sure, and I've thought about this a lot, I'm not entirely sure I'm fully recovered. And whilst I've gone on to do other things...
Thank you for being so honest, man. I really respect and appreciate it.
Whilst I've gone on to do other things, other people's perception of your life is
not necessarily how you feel.
No, not at all. And me, I said the other night on my Facebook Live, I like to be one of the gang more than I like to be the leader of the pack. And there were people on there that were like, bullshit, you are a leader, Spencer. You know, some people that had worked for me in the past as well. And maybe a leader but likes to be one of the pack as well, I don't know. But for me, I'm not entirely sure I fully recovered. I think I had an element of Stockholm syndrome. And
so you got used to beating yourself up?
Beating myself up.
You know, internal dialogue, quite abusive.
Well, I was suicidal at one stage. That was going to happen. My dad intervened there, got me into the Priory. So I'm trying to recount the timeline. After that, I had support from good people. Danielle and Sarah have been like epic people, epic human beings.
Because they believed in you.
Yeah, and then when we set up the Blue Sky Thinking Group with the companies we had, when I asked Danielle if she wanted to run it, it's because I wasn't enjoying it. It wasn't feeding my soul. And so Danielle said yes, and I said great. She said on one condition, give me the car park pass. I'm like, you've got one. She's like, I know, but I don't want you to come to the office. If I'm going to be the boss, I want you to respect that and remember that everyone knows you own this. Allow me to try and be the boss. Give me the freedom to do that. And she was right. So then again, I felt lost again. I was, hold on a minute here. I've just said, do you want to run the business? She said yes, and I've just now fired myself.
Yeah.
So I'd gone from being fired to now firing myself, and people matter to me. Being around people matters to me. There's nothing more destructive for me than to be commercially.
You lost your way.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now, don't get me wrong. I will gladly travel on my own. I'll gladly, I'm happy to do that. I'm the guy that will sit and read a book of an evening on my own.
You like your own space,
very much.
But
so.
You lost your path.
I don't trust anybody anymore. That's a weird thing to say, but there were lots of people at that company before when I got fired that I thought were my friends, and I found out they weren't, and that hurt, and it really hurt, and so. Thinking that people are your friends and they're not, and you're like, and also had been told by the company, don't speak to Spencer,
and they didn't.
And well, they obviously had their jobs to be considerate of. I have people that have become my friends since that were there, and they're like, we weren't allowed to talk to you, and that's really sad. But yeah, and so why I love what I do right now is I love to have impact on people. Why I hate what I do right now is that I am still the boss. And I'm not a great fan of that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick, if you don't mind me. About 2001, I opened up a company called AMCAT, American Computer and Telephone. And we were the first auto dialers in the whole of UK. You remember before you used to have manually dialing?
Yeah.
Well, we put the automatic dialers in. And they didn't give me employment. It was an American company. They gave me an employment contract. I grew it to a 30-40 million pound business a year. And they fired me. They owed me 1.5 million pounds in commission. Okay, I took it to the industrial tribunal and I won 15,000 pounds because a judge couldn't understand how a salesman can earn 1.5 million pounds. Long story short, they fired the sales manager, but his court case was a month before mine. There was an accountant there who was 62. He was my squash colleague at the health club I used to go to. When he got fired, he had nowhere to go. I gave him a job at this company. The guy who was taking the company to court because he was fired and he was owed commission, I was his witness in his court case. He won £500,000, right? Behind the scene, he wrote a deal with these guys that if they pay him £500,000, he won't be my witness in my court case. The accountant that I hired never spoke to me again. And I had to come home to my family to say I won the court case, it's £15,000, and I gave him 2 years of my life. So I know how you feel. I felt gutted. I felt absolutely gutted. But here's the thing. 2 years later, the 60-year-old guy died in a squash court of a heart attack, unhappy. Yes, his wife came to me and apologized for what he'd done to me. Never, I don't know what happened to the other guy, but sorry to say, but the founder of AMCAT, I Googled him a couple of years ago. He was shot dead in Oklahoma by his own son. His sales director, karma is a funny thing. The guy who he brought to the UK to set up that company, they were devout Catholics, found out that his child wasn't his. Incredible, no?
Wow.
So who ended up being happy? Me. Although the pain was terrible there, and I was ashamed that people would say, didn't you have a contract with these people? I said, no, every time I asked for a contract, they pulled the Bible out. I was like, religion is more important than the Bible, honestly, than a contract, lessons, very expensive lessons. So I've been there, mate. I've been there. But you gave him 16 years. So how long ago was this?
2012.
Wow, quite recently. So what was that turning point? What was the turning point where you thought, enough feeling sorry for myself, I'm gonna make a difference in this world, which you are.
Well, at the end of 2012, we set the new company up. So I'd come through the depression and everything else by then, or partially.
Was it just a matter of time, slow process, or somebody slapped you in the face and wake up?
A bit of everything.
Okay.
And then we set the new business up. That ran for a couple of years, till 2016. So that was 3 years. Danielle then took it over, and then I went off to create my online university and learn about social media and all that kind of stuff. And that's then really when I got into the space that I'm in now. Yeah, and that's where I find myself today.
You're a consultant. You're a sales and marketing consultant also.
That's
You
right,
help
yeah.
businesses. Tell me about the 3 areas when you walk into a business, because I feel as a because I'm a sales and marketing consultant, not as successful as you are by any means, but there's 2 or 3 things the moment I walk in I can pick up on. What are those 2 or 3 things that you pick up on, the first priorities or lowest hanging fruits that you deal with when you go into an organization?
Quality of the staff. That's always something.
Recruitment.
So
they recruit to the wrong people.
Always a problem. Always a problem. You can if you've got experience, you can sense that a mile off. When I sit down, structure and attitudes or morale and stuff like that, you notice that very quickly as you walk into a business. That any company that's doing really well doesn't typically want to see you.
Yes. You don't have a headache, right? So.
And any company that isn't doing very well, or as well as they could do, is open to a conversation. But I haven't been to one company yet that isn't in desperate need of help, and I don't mean in need of some help, in desperate need of help.
Yes.
And I find it staggering that companies pay me money to teach them stuff that they don't apply.
Yes, they don't apply it, do they?
It's
like going to the gym. You pay every month and never go.
It's nuts.
On a larger scale.
It's nuts. It's genuinely nuts. There's companies that I deal with that go, yeah, give me money every month, and then don't apply. And it's just not difficult. Becoming successful isn't difficult, okay? There's a formula. There's skills you need to learn. It's not difficult, but people just don't.
You know
want
what
to apply
I think it is? I think it's habits.
Of course it is.
They're going to bad habits, and to break a habit is really painful. And losing money is not as painful as changing a bad habit.
I think that smoking's a bad habit when your doctor says, which is hard to give up, yeah? But when your doctor says 1 more of those in your mouth and you're going to get cancer, it's very easy to give up.
But then Patrick Swayze smoked himself to death. You with me?
Some people do, but most people, if you had 100 people in this room right now and they were all smokers and the doctor said 1 more, we know 1 more of those is going to kill you.
Yes.
People will put it out and they won't.
But you know what I think? I think if somebody says it's going to kill you, I think 50 will go, yeah, some people will go, what the hell? But if it's just going to kill your kid or your wife or your loved one, they actually become more reactive, they become more passionate about the change.
Agreed.
Because it's somebody they love.
Agreed.
Than their own pain.
Defo.
Amazing. So, we were discussing this earlier. My contracts with my clients don't last more than 3 months. I say thank you, goodbye, because I get bored, right? And I get frustrated and I get angry. And one thing happens quite regularly. If the owner hires me, the right-hand persons try to sabotage my work most of the time. And I tell you my experience, because they feel insecure, because they've been in that comfortable position for such a long time, and this consultant comes along and does things differently. So they try to sabotage, and I can't be bothered with that fight. Does that happen to you, or is it just me?
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's me. I have to look in the mirror for that one, right? It's me.
I mean, there's some people that feel threatened, but no, what I find quite
Maybe
funny.
I can learn from it. How do you avoid that?
Well, you have like salespeople and sales management, and then the CEO. And as far as I'm concerned, the biggest problem is always the boss.
Right.
All right. The problem
even
is
the guy who hired you. Yeah?
The CEO is responsible.
Sure.
Now, if he's not prepared to change anything, okay, but he wants these people down here to be changed,
yes,
then he's only going to, once I'm out of the door, he's only going to go back to type. So I've got to change him first, or fix him, or whatever needs to be done there. But then I need to have the next step done, which is to deal with the leadership, the management of the company. And I find it astonishing that people want you to go in and do sales training, but they don't want you to train the leaders. Or the leaders don't entertain the training themselves. There's one company I go to regularly, and the manager doesn't show up. I do leadership coaching with them, and I'm like, guys, you're the leaders. Your sales team has got 100 people in here. Okay, each one of you has got 20, 30 people that you run. Okay, be at the training. Yeah.
And they find reasons not to.
And they find reasons not to. And it's like, I'm doing your job for you. I'm training your team because you don't know or you're not committed to doing it. Do you not think it might be wise that you learn what I do so that you can replicate it yourself? And
then you understand why they're doing the things they're doing because you've seen it and heard.
Sense, isn't it? I'm sure anyone listening or watching this right now will go, they do what? Because it's common sense. But it's how it is.
So are you doing more consultancy?
Yeah, I like doing corporate work. I enjoy working with companies, and I enjoy seeing the change, and that's why I stay for longer. So I go once a month and work with them that way.
Wow.
Over a 12-month period, and I enjoy doing that because I like to see what's going to happen at the end. It's like it's for me, and also I build great relationships with people, and that what I find is there's a lot of people here in town that want my services, individuals, but people aren't prepared to pay for it.
Yes.
Because
so do you do what, group sessions, or do you, if they can't afford it?
I have an online university, so people that want to learn how to sell, the university's there. It's 26 courses, 450 videos and tests that go with everything, the A to Z of sales. So as far as I'm concerned, if you haven't got the budget to pay for me and my time, there's the online product that can do that for you.
Whilst you telling, how do they sign up to that? The viewers and the listeners?
Go to spencerlodge.tv online, and you'll find it there.
Is it a one set price, or is it different?
It's $97 a month.
It's fantastic.
It's a membership site. You can stay in as long as you want. I think there's a 14 or a 30-day free trial as well. Go and have a look.
Amazing.
I'm quite proud of it. It's probably the thing I'm most proud of, actually.
Because we invested so much time.
Man, it took me a long time, a long time in the studios and stuff, 450 videos.
That's amazing.
It's like there's a lot.
I don't know, it was 450 things about sales, but well done to you, man. I respect that. I'm like this. Seven is my number. Yeah.
I broke down.
After about 9, I get dizzy.
Only one of those 7 things. Why is he giving me 450?
Yeah, congratulations. The funny thing is, I do seminars, and I sometimes see the same faces going to another seminar.
Seminar junkies.
Yeah, and it frustrates the hell out of me. Go out there and do something. Take action.
I love it. I saw a guy at a seminar the other day, and he's like, "Hi Spencer, how are you?" And I'm like,
Again?
I keep seeing you, don't I? I said, "Have you ever bought anything? Have you ever invested in yourself?"
Just go to a free seminar.
He's like, "No, but I think I might do soon." Like, it must be at least 3 years that I've been seeing you at events.
Yeah,
Don't for your audience, whoever's listening and watching this, don't be a donut. Stop going to seminars and not doing anything about it. Take some action. Invest in yourself, because if you invest in yourself, you might get somewhere.
Absolutely, there's growth. About 20 years ago, I attended a wedding. Now, I'm Muslim born, but this was a Jewish wedding, and I actually have Jewish people and Baha'is and Christians in my family, being Iranian. And I sat next to a rabbi, and they on a wheelchair, they brought in the grandfather of the bride, and he just started saying, he's not going to be living here long on this planet once, and but I'm happy if he goes. So what do you mean? Because I've buried many people, and there's 3 types. I said, what are they? He goes, one is that they get to grand old, you know this?
Right.
So you get to grand old age, and the families around them, they have a really good life, and it's time to go, and they say goodbye, and they're gone. I'm really happy for them. Then the ones who are really in pain, and we all wish that for them, the pain go away, that they pass. And I'm happy for them also.
Yeah.
Because the worst death I've ever seen is the ones who are old and have regrets. And that's the worst. And that was so powerful. It came from an angle I never expected it. And I thought, I never want to sit on that rocking chair. I wish I did this. I should have done this. I should have done this. And I try to live a life where I tick all the boxes, as long as it doesn't harm or hurt anyone. Intentionally.
Sure.
Intentionally.
It's a good way to be.
So my respect to you, man. So what's in store for you over the next 11 months?
I'm going to the South Pole in December, because I like to climb mountains and do adventurous stuff.
There's a mountain in South Pole? There's a desert and stuff.
Yes, Vincent Massive, and that's 4,800 meters. So there's a mountain in Antarctica. To climb, minus 30
So you're going with
degrees.
a bunch of people? Or?
So yes, I'll go on an expedition. We'll be gone for, I think, 25 days.
Well, is there a meetup group? Like, say, how do you find these people who want to climb this mountain in South Pole? How does that happen?
There's a company called Madison Mountaineering, and they put it together. They're based in.
And you climbed mountains before?
Yeah.
4,800.
Yeah, it's not very high, but it's not high. No, it's not high.
Of course, it's going to be oxygen, cold, winds.
Not oxygen, but just minus 30 degrees, winds, towing a sled behind you, walking on skis. So yeah.
And how long is this process going to take?
25 days.
And you're gonna fly to Argentina or something?
Yeah, you fly from here to Holland to Argentina.
Take a boat down.
Argentina down to wherever it is that there's an airport down the bottom of it, and then you get on another flight and you go across. No, you actually go to Argentina and then to Santiago. From Santiago, you fly down to Antarctica. There's a landing strip down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna meet a bunch of people and you're gonna walk.
On skis.
And then on skis. People died from this?
Yeah, there's a danger.
You Googled it, right? And
Google, yeah.
How many people have died?
What's the most dangerous thing I can do? Yeah.
And you married again, right? You said.
Yeah, my wife Anna. Yeah, she's
okay with you going.
No, she hates it. Mm-hmm. I went last year to Ecuador to do my glacier training to get ready to summit Everest. And while I was in Ecuador, 11 people died on Everest. And I got a message from my wife saying,
"You're not going.
You have two choices: divorce or me." And so, divorce.
You were like,
yeah.
Divorce or Everest. Like, give me 24 hours. I'll come back to
you. You know what? It was touch and go there. Yeah. It really was. It really was because I really want to climb Everest. You know, so that when I do stuff like that, it's really good for my soul because it's all I focus on while I'm doing it. I lose all of the other issues that are going on in the world and focus on that. In terms of other things that are going on, work related.
But when is that?
26th of December.
Are you attached to a charity or something, or there's no charity or anything?
I will be attached to a charity, but that'll be announced. I'll be working with Maria Conci-Sal, who's got the Maria Christina Foundation, where she takes the children out of Bangladesh and she gets them internationally educated. So everything I do will be with her. Or for her.
She let me know because I like to support you.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you. And then there's various events that I'll be doing, and we've got the Big Broker event coming up, which is all of the real estate brokers in Dubai will be there. We have Les Brown coming, as you know, with Cha-Ching, which is fairly soon. And then, I'm busy with my podcast. Obviously, I really enjoy doing that. I'm having fun with you now. I've had some great feedback and some wonderful guests on as well. And I actually really enjoy doing my podcast.
Yes.
It's a bit weird sitting here with you right now being interviewed. Yeah. But I really enjoy meeting people, learning about their stories. And I'm actually quite an inquisitive person. So I want to know.
But as a salesman, you have to be, don't you? You have to know the other person sitting across the table, right?
Yeah.
Not do all the talking, do all the listening, get to understand it, make the questions relevant to the previous information that you got.
I've been criticised a bit because of that, though, by Alicia, who does the video and the producing of some of the stuff. She's like,
she's not in the room.
Share your stories too. So. I really enjoy that, and I hope I'd love for it to become bigger. I'd love for it to become, we look at and we see what's possible with Joe Rogan and the potential that's there, and other people that have epic podcasts. And I say to myself, why can't mine be that? If my days were spent all day, every day, filming my podcast,
you would do that, yeah?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
He does one every day.
Yeah, I know.
Every day.
Friends of mine went on it recently. And it's epic. And what I really enjoy watching it, I love the way that he's using the screen. He's researching stuff. I love the way he's telling stories. Yes. All of that's really. And there's other podcasts I like too. Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO, epic. Katie Leeson, I shouldn't say this, but she's the MD of that social chain. Really good. I like Russell Brunson. He does it in his car with his phone in his hand. There are some really good podcasts out there. And so, and I like consuming them. You and I might drive to Abu Dhabi, and it's a boring old motorway, isn't it?
But you listen to podcasts.
Put me a podcast on, and I'm wired up, and I'm ready to go. So,
I find that with our market, like Joe Rogan wouldn't be allowed here because he swears and he talks about drugs and alcohol.
I swear.
Do you?
Well, I'm sponsored now. My podcast is sponsored,
yes,
so I'm not allowed to.
Be very careful what
They're like, no swearing. I'm like, oh. So for poor old
You've got to hold back. He doesn't work the same way. So when it comes to the editing, it's like beep, beep, beep. The guys here say, should I put star? No, just fuck it. Just put everything in there. Yeah? It's just star business. They can't come and arrest me.
I don't think you can't. I think, obviously, because of what I do in Najahi being a sponsor, I have to follow their instructions. But I don't think there are any rules around it. There's enough bad language spoken around the world, and you're always going to offend someone, aren't you? It doesn't matter what it is.
I had an event. I was a sales director for a music hall here, and I just come to Dubai, and we booked a couple of bands from the UK, and they were amazing. amazing man. The singer got carried away, took his shirt off. The police came in. Put your shirt back on. I couldn't believe it. They stopped the concert. Yeah. So you can't get excited, take your shirt off. I said, what the hell country is this? Yeah. And you can't do hand gestures. You can't. You never know. You never know. I don't think Joe Rogan will be so free here. I think Gary Vee came and he stopped swearing, didn't he? He didn't swear. It was a Sharjah.
No, he did, at the Sharjah Festival he came. He was here for National Achievers Congress as well. He doesn't swear when he's here. But yeah, I don't care about that. I just be. I'm just fascinated by people, why they do what they do, how they got to where they got, why it matters to them, and there's just so much to learn from people. And the older I get, the more I care about what people have to say. Not because I care about their opinions, but I care about the value they can bring to me.
Yes.
And I get
share.
And as well, when you start to get great feedback from people, if one person says you have an epic podcast, that's enough to spur you on, isn't it? And if 5 people say it, then you can run for months.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you do. I watch them. They are epic. They're amazing.
No, cheers,
and they're so natural. It's beautiful. Really good.
Thank you.
Great to watch.
It's really fun.
If you could interview one person alive, don't say Elvis or Michael Jackson, alive, who would that be? Wave a magic wand and you could interview him for an hour. Because you've done some big boy, Tony Robbins and all these people.
I'd like to interview my dad.
He's with us still, right? Wow.
I'd like to.
It's a conversation you want to have listened to by public.
I don't have secrets. I don't come from a world where there's secrets. It's for me. I'm an open book. I'd like to have a conversation.
You can't have that conversation now.
Yeah, he lives in the UK and I'm here and my podcast is here. So yeah, if you want me to think of somebody that's famous or something like that.
Well, you could make that happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can.
What do you think the listeners will get out of it? Or is it something that you will get?
I think that there'll be a lot of people that will be able to identify themselves in either part of that relationship or know someone that's in that place.
And what, if you
I love my dad. I love my dad.
What was that relationship? Was it a tough relationship?
It wasn't tough. It's just that I think I felt abandoned. My dad said something to me the other day, which was the most amazing thing he said to me. He's 75 years old. He has YouTube, but he doesn't have any other social media. And I interviewed Tony Robbins and sent him the video. I said, "What do you think of Tony Robbins?" He went, "Yeah, he's a bit arrogant, isn't he?" And I was like, I said, "Dad, it's Tony Robbins." Yes, he's like, yes. Yeah. He hasn't come across my radar, to be honest with you. And I'm like, "Where have you been hiding?"
$500 million. You have to be a little bit outspoken.
And so, yeah, and my dad hadn't said one good thing about pretty much anything I've ever done. The success I had over the year, nothing. And he said to me the other day, and I was completely sideswiped by it. He said, I just want you to know, I've watched every episode of your every video you've made, including your podcast. I've watched it all. And he said, and I've just worked out what you're doing. And I was like, here we go.
Ready for the punch.
Yeah. And he said, you're just trying to spread positivity and motivate people, aren't you? And I was like, yes, Dad. He said, that's really good. I really like that. Well done. Man, it was priceless. Wow. It was priceless.
Isn't it funny? 50 years old and we still want that praise from our parents.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I didn't have a great childhood because I had so many passings and mental and physical abuse. And I was on a Tony Robbins course, funny enough, in Tenerife. And I'm opposite to my mum. She's alive and healthy and she's probably watching. But she would admit that because of her problems of her past, she's very negative or pessimistic, should I say. And I'm totally opposite. So because I lost my father when I was 4, I always thought maybe I was his DNA. So I really resented my mum. But then in that course, I realized that she was my inspiration. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So before, I couldn't stand being with her for past an hour, right? Because it was just opposite to what I was doing. But then I couldn't stop crying in this course, age 52, right? Thinking, actually, it's opposite. Everything that I didn't want to be, she was. So she was my inspiration. Mm-hmm. So I phoned her up straight away and said, Mom, ticket for 2 weeks, Dubai, you're coming over. Got her a hotel room, flew her over, spent great time with her. But my internal dialogue towards her changed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
The pain didn't go, and the fact this rejection and wanting acceptance. But it's funny how, as I've changed, she regularly tells me she's proud of me, and she'd never done that before.
That's lovely.
Yeah, have that conversation.
Yeah, no, I will.
If you don't mind me saying, now, today, tomorrow, because you never know. You're not
I
guaranteed.
would like to sit down with him on the
That would be
podcast
nice.
and make an episode. We'll be catching up with each other, I think, in March anyway. So, yeah, I'd like just to sit down with him and have
let
the
me know as
conversation.
well.
I'd like other people to have a window into the world that people, because people don't think I've got this world behind. All they see is the shiny bits, and they don't see what happened in the early years. And
Well, that's what makes you human.
Yeah.
That's what makes people like you more, because they see that side.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
So happiness is a decision, right? You don't wake up every morning thinking, right, I'll wake up the bright side of the road, everything's wonderful. You make a choice, you make a decision to be positive and happy.
Yes.
Because you could easily look at the downside of things and negative things and the scarcity of this universe.
You
Right?
can, yeah. I agree with that. I think that I think you'll find that I see what I do is almost like it's like people in sales. They learn their lines and they've got to learn how to perform their lines. They're on stage and they have to perform. And I think that when I say to people, what you see is what you get, what you see is what you get when I'm performing is the real me on fire. And if you see me at home and you come to my house and
That's real you at home.
that's the real me at home, yeah.
So you're real all the time.
I think authenticity is critical.
Yes.
I'd rather be hated for being me than loved for being somebody
Yes.
else,
That's amazing, really powerful. Thank you.
Pleasure, man.
I don't know how long we've been speaking, but it's over an hour?
Have we
1
been-
hour, 2 minutes.
1 hour, 1 hour, 2 minutes. On
How
cue.
long?
1 hour, 2 minutes.
Oh, 1 or 2. I thought you said 1 or 2 hours.
Hope you enjoyed it.
It's been great talking to you.
I think
I've really enjoyed it.
I think you're amazing. I really do. I think you're a thought leader. You're making things happen, and you're a force for good. I really believe that. So
That's really
Absolute pleasure.
very kind, and I take
And
that compliment very
and I'd
seriously.
love to do coffee with you soon, whenever you get a chance in your busy time. So when are you going to South Pole?
That's December.
So we have time. Let me know, because I like to sponsor.
You want to
if
come to the
can.
South Pole?
Absolutely not. But we'll help you. I'll write the check. I'll write the check. I like my warmth. I like
We can give you a cuddle.
Davos.
It's okay.
Davos is the closest place I
The
get
fridge.
to. Yeah. No. I love skiing. Here's the funny thing. I'm 53, and I was thinking, how many more years of skiing have I got left in me before the knees?
Do you love to ski?
I love skiing.
Me too. It's
I
one
love
of my
skiing.
favourite things to do.
Absolutely love skiing.
How long we got? You're 53 and I'm 50, so I reckon
10 years, 12 years before the knees start
Well,
going, or
with
hips.
respect, Sir Chris Bonington, who I interviewed
He's
recently,
80 odd.
at 80 years old, climbed the Old Man of Hoy in the Orkney Islands.
Yeah, but did he ski down there?
Hey,
That's the question.
you saw
right?
him,
Yeah,
didn't you? You saw him climbing at 80 years old.
we could have taken a train down.
It's all what's going on there. We can ski. We can ski when we're 75 years
On my
old.
Zimmer frame.
Yeah, but you might end up having to play golf and bridge and become miserable or an alcoholic.
No,
and I don't want
honestly,
to.
and play with Warren Buffett and Bill Gates any day. So it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, ladies, for coming. Really enjoyed it. Was it okay?
Yeah.
Verdict good?
Entertaining.
Okay, getting from the professionals, mate. Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much
Appreciate
indeed.
it. See you for coffee soon, I hope.
Definitely,
yeah?
definitely.
People want to get in touch with you one more time? The website?
SpencerLodge.tv. Go for me on Instagram at Spencer.Lodge, or go to the TikTok at Spencer.Lodge, or you'll find me. My name sounds
We'll
like
put all the text down at the bottom of the video.
my name sounds like an old people's home, so it's not hard to find.
Great. And what we're going to do is we're going to post lots of snippets from this podcast, and then when we edit the whole thing, we'll let you know. We'll send it to you for preview. If you're okay, we'll post it online.
You can send it out anyway.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate
Send
it.
it out, and we'll share it as well.
Love to.
All right, mate.
Pleasure meeting you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.